Summer of 2014, a time when life for 28-year-old Lars Mittank seemed ordinary, even hopeful. He was a young German engineer from Schleswig-Holstein, reserved but kind, a man with steady work and close friends. By all accounts, he was grounded, dependable, and very much rooted in the routines of everyday life. But what began as a simple vacation on the sunny beaches of Bulgaria would spiral into one of the most haunting mysteries of our time. A story that 11 years later still dominates internet forums, TikTok theories, and YouTube documentaries. A story where CCTV footage of a terrified man running barefoot from an airport would make him quite literally the most famous missing tourist in the world. In late June 2014, Lars set out on a summer holiday with a group of friends. The destination: Golden Sands, a bustling seaside resort on the Black Sea coast of Bulgaria, known for its vibrant nightlife, cheap drinks, and packed beaches. It was a popular getaway for young Europeans looking for sun and fun. To Lars, this was supposed to be nothing more than a break from the monotony of a week of laughter, parties, and the kind of carefree living that only vacations can provide. Friends later recalled that Lars was in high spirits at first. He drank with them, swam in the sea, even went to local football bars to watch the World Cup matches. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary, but just a few nights in, something shifted. It started in a local bar. Some accounts suggest it was over football rivalry. Lars was a passionate Werder Bremen supporter. Others say it was something more trivial. What we do know is this: a confrontation escalated between Lars and a group of men, purportedly Russian football fans. The fight left Lars injured. Specifically, he sustained a ruptured eardrum, a serious injury that can cause intense pain, dizziness, and hearing loss. The local doctor advised Lars not to fly home immediately, as changes in cabin pressure could worsen his condition. His friends, however, had jobs to return to in Germany and could not extend their stay. So reluctantly, they left, and Lars, injured, alone, and in a foreign country, stayed behind. Signs of unease at first. It seemed manageable. Lars checked into a budget hotel near the Varna Airport. He planned to wait just a few days, long enough for his ear to recover so he could safely board a flight. But then, strange behaviors began. He phoned his mother back in Germany, sounding nervous. He told her that he felt unsafe, that people were following him, that he didn't trust the hotel. He abruptly left the first hotel and checked into another, a cheaper one, known for its less than Witnesses say he appeared paranoid, frequently pacing, looking over his shoulder, and mumbling about being watched. To his mother, Lars sent a chilling text message: "They don't want me to leave. I need to get out of here." She tried to calm him down, assuming maybe the fight, the injury, or even medication side effects were making him anxious. But Lars's behavior was escalating rapidly. On the night of July 7th, hotel staff reported strange incidents. Lars was seen wandering the halls, restless. He left his room at least once during the night, carrying his belongings with him. At one point, he apparently left the hotel entirely, vanishing into the dark streets of Varna only to return hours later, in the early morning. No one knew where he went. Then, around dawn, Lars made another phone call to his mother. His voice was shaky, urgent. He told her he needed to cancel his bank cards immediately. He claimed men were coming for him, that his life was in danger. His mother, now terrified herself, urged him to go to the airport and fly home as soon as possible. The morning of July 8th, and so he did. That morning, Lars checked out of the hotel and took a taxi to Varna Airport. By this time, he had been awake most of the night, and his paranoia was visibly heightened. Taxi drivers later recalled that he was agitated, constantly looking out the windows, muttering that someone was following him. But at least, it seemed, he was heading home. His mother even booked him a flight back to Germany. Relief was within reach, or so she thought. The doctor's visit at Varna Airport. Lars visited the medical center for one final check on his ear injury. He needed clearance to fly. The doctor examined him and reportedly said his condition was improving. It would be safe to board the plane. But what happened next defies all logic. In the middle of this routine check, Lars's demeanor changed. He became visibly anxious, then suddenly panicked. Eyewitnesses claim that when a construction worker walked into the office, Lars's eyes widened. He muttered something about not wanting to die. And then without warning, he bolted. The escape surveillance cameras captured the shocking scene. Lars, wearing a yellow t-shirt and shorts, darts out of the airport clinic. He rushes through the terminal, past the sliding glass doors, and into the parking lot. He's barefoot, leaving behind his luggage, wallet, passport, everything. And then, the final footage, he runs across the parking lot, climbs a tall fence, and disappears into the woods bordering the airport. That was the last confirmed sighting of Lars Mittank, the cliffhanger to this day. What drove Lars to that moment remains a mystery. Some say it was a psychotic break, possibly triggered by his head injury or underlying mental health struggles. Others believe he was being pursued, that his fears weren't imagined but real. But on that summer morning in 2014, one thing became clear. Lars Mittank had gone from a carefree tourist to a man fleeing for his life, and in doing so, he vanished, without a trace. Narration close for Chapter 1. It began as an ordinary vacationer young man, a beach resort, a fight, and an injury. But by the time Lars reached Varna Airport, his world had unraveled into chaos. July 8th, 2014. A warm summer morning at Varna Airport in Bulgaria. The world bustled as flights departed for Berlin, Vienna, Moscow. Travelers wheeled their luggage across polished floors, eager to return home or begin new adventures. Among them was a young German tourist who should have been just another passenger. But instead, surveillance cameras captured one of the most chilling vanishing acts ever recorded. The last hours after his restless night, Lars Mittank arrived. At Varna Airport around 9 a.m., his mother, still in Germany, was on standby ready to hear that her son was finally boarding a flight home. He had an airline ticket in his hand. He had enough money to make it. He had a doctor's note saying his ear injury was improving. And yet, beneath the surface, something was terribly wrong. Witnesses noticed Lars pacing outside the terminal, avoiding groups of people, scanning his surroundings with darting eyes. At times, he would mutter under his breath, then suddenly stiffen as though someone had called his name. When he entered the airport's medical clinic for a pre-flight checkup, he seemed cooperative. The doctor examined his ear and found nothing alarming. Lars could safely board the plane. But when a construction worker walked into the office perhaps just to deliver equipment, Lars's demeanor changed instantly. His breathing quickened. His eyes widened with fear. He muttered something under his breath. Then, he exploded into motion. The escape at Varna Airport, the CCTV footage is as haunting today as it was in 2014. Lars bursts from the examination room, wearing his yellow t-shirt, cargo shorts, and carrying nothing else. He sprints across the terminal, passing stunned travelers, past the glass sliding doors. His luggage, passport, wallet all left behind. Once outside, he runs barefoot across the parking lot. Surveillance cameras catch him climbing a tall fence near the airport's perimeter. Then he vanishes into a field of tall grass and dense trees beyond the airport property. And that was the last time anyone ever saw him. The immediate search airport staff immediately reported the bizarre incident to authorities, security personnel, and later police began searching the fields, nearby roads, and wooded areas. But Lars had simply disappeared. His mother was informed that her son had bolted from the airport in panic. She thought at first it must be a misunderstanding. Perhaps he had been robbed, maybe someone threatened him. But as the hours turned into days, her hope turned to horror. No one matching Lars's description was found in the area. No CCTV camera captured him leaving. No taxi drivers remembered picking him up. It was as if he had evaporated into thin air. Theories begin with no answers. Speculation ran wild. 1. A mental breakdown. Some experts believe Lars suffered from a sudden onset of psychosis. The bar fight and ruptured eardrum could have triggered extreme stress or even neurological complications. Combined with alcohol, painkillers, or even antibiotics, his mind may have descended into paranoia and hallucination. His behaviors witching hotels, muttering about being followed, begging his mother to cancel his credit cards, fits the pattern of someone experiencing delusions. His flight from the airport, barefoot and frantic, may have been an attempt to escape imagined pursuers. But this theory doesn't answer the hardest question. Where did he go? Even if he had a breakdown, search parties should have found some trace clothing, remains, something. 2. Organized crime. Others point to a darker explanation. Golden Sands Resort has long had a reputation for drug activity, football, hooliganism, and organized crime. Some suggest that the fight Lars got into with Russian men wasn't random, that he had been marked, threatened, or coerced into something. His paranoia about being followed, his fear of using his bank cards, his sudden urge to flee. These could all be signs that he really was in danger. Perhaps when he entered the airport, he spotted someone connected to that fight, someone he recognized as a threat. And in that moment, he ran for his life. But again, if he was running from gang members or criminals, why has there been no evidence in 11 years? No ransom, no confirmed sightings, no remains. 3. Drugged or poisoned. Another theory suggests that Lars's drink may have been spiked during his time in Golden Sands. Hallucinogens or amphetamines could have caused paranoia, sleeplessness, and erratic behavior. But if that were the case, the effects should have worn off after a few days. His paranoia only escalated. 4. Voluntary disappearance. Some have even speculated that Lars chose to disappear, that he wanted to abandon his life, perhaps burdened by stresses no one knew about. But friends and family reject this completely. Lars had no financial debt, no relationship troubles, no known desire to run away. He was close to his mother, and by all accounts, loved his life back home. And besides, a voluntary disappearance would require planning. Lars left behind everything: passport, phone, wallet. How could he have started a new life without those essentials? The mother's Lars's mother, Sandra. The nightmare began that day and has never ended. She was the last person to hear his voice, the one who urged him to fly home, the one who believed he would be safe if he just boarded that plane. Instead, she has spent more than a decade searching for him, peering in interviews, begging for information, and watching, again and again, the final footage of her son sprinting from Varna Airport. In one interview, she admitted, "I don't know if my son is alive or dead. I just know he was terrified, and I know that fear was real." Search efforts and Dead Ends authorities searched the surrounding countryside extensively. Forensic dogs, helicopters, volunteers, yet nothing was ever recovered. No clothing, no remains, no personal belongings. Over the years, occasional sightings have been reported. A man resembling Lars in Bulgaria, a drifter in Poland, a homeless man in the Netherlands. Each tip sparked hope, but none were ever confirmed. Interpol even listed him as a missing person. But leads dwindled as time passed. The viral footage. Key reason this case went viral worldwide is the footage itself. Unlike most missing person cases, where only a blurry photo exists, Lars's final moments were captured in crystal clarity. Millions have watched that clip. The young man running barefoot, his yellow shirt flashing across the screen, his body language screaming pure fear. To some, it's the face of a man losing his mind. To others, it's proof that something or someone was after him. And the internet hasn't stopped debating it since. The chilling possibilities. By the end of 2014, the case of Lars Mittank had spread far beyond Germany and Bulgaria. It was discussed in Reddit threads, dissected in YouTube videos, theorized about in podcasts. He was dubbed the most famous missing person on YouTube. And yet, despite all the attention, one fact remained. Lars had simply vanished into thin air. No matter which theory you believe, there is a disturbing truth. People do not just disappear, not without a trace, not without leaving behind some sign of their fate. And yet, Lars did. A barefoot sprint into the woods. A young man vanishing without a trace. A mother waiting for a son who never came home. What happened to Lars Mittank after that July morning in 2014? The world still doesn't know, but the search for answers has turned his disappearance into one of the internet's most chilling mysteries. The global shockwave news of Lars's disappearance spread quickly across Europe. German newspapers reported it as a tragic story of a tourist lost abroad. Bulgarian authorities treated it as a missing person case. But as days turned into weeks, it became clear. Lars was gone. Interpol placed him on their missing persons list. Flyers with his picture tall, blonde, athletic, with kind eyes were distributed across Bulgaria. His mother Sandra, devastated but determined, traveled to the region to search herself. But nothing came. No clothes, no remains, no bank activity. Lars had evaporated. The viral mystery, the case, might have faded into obscurity. Just another sad story in the long list of missing travelers. But one thing kept it alive. The footage. That haunting CCTV clip of Lars bolting out of Varna Airport spread like wildfire online. It was uploaded to YouTube, analyzed frame by frame, debated in forums, and even turned into TikTok explainers years later. Unlike most vanished person cases, the world could see his fear. It wasn't just a story, it was a video, replayed millions of times. Viewers asked the same question over and over. What was he running from? The mother's endless search for Lars's mother Sandra. The footage is both a blessing and a curse. It is the last proof of her son alive, but also the image that haunts her nights. In interviews, she has begged for answers. She has flown to Bulgaria multiple times, following every lead, knocking on doors. searching in forests where police gave up years ago. She has said, "If Lars is alive, I want him to know he can come home. If he is dead, I just want to bring him back." Her relentless search kept the case in headlines long after authorities stopped investigating. Theories that haunt the internet. The internet has never stopped theorizing. And in the 11 years since, the theories have only multiplied. 1. The psychosis theory. Many psychiatrists who reviewed the case point to a mental health crisis. Sudden onset psychosis, triggered by stress, injury, or even genetics, can cause paranoia, hallucinations, and flight behavior. His eardrum rupture, painkillers, and antibiotics may have played a role. Some drugs are known to trigger rare but severe psychiatric reactions. If Lars truly suffered a breakdown, his sprint into the woods was not about real danger, but an imagined one. But if that's true, why was he never found? Psychotic individuals rarely travel far without help. Searches in the immediate area should have uncovered something too: the crime. Theory. Others remain convinced Lars was in real danger. Golden Sands wasn't, still is known for shady nightlife. Tourists often report drug deals, pickpocketing, even organized crime targeting foreigners. Some believe Lars was attacked not just randomly, but deliberately. Maybe he refused to carry drugs. Maybe he crossed the wrong people. Maybe the men from the bar fight weren't finished with him. If so, then the fear on his face was genuine. The man in the medical office may have reminded him of those same attackers. And when he bolted, he may have been chased and silenced before anyone could find him. 3. The trafficking theory. A darker theory suggests Lars may have been a victim of human trafficking. Young European men are less common victims, but not unheard of. His paranoia about people following him, his urge to cancel his bank cards, his fear of the hotel all may have been signs he was already being targeted. His sudden disappearance, without belongings, fits a possible abduction. But again, skeptics point out, if criminals had him, why leave behind a trail at the airport? Why allow his escape into the woods at all? 4. The voluntary disappearance. Some internet sleuths argue Lars may have chosen to vanish, that his fear was tied not to psychosis or crime, but to personal secrets. But his life in Germany offered no clues, no debts, no enemies, no affairs. He was a simple man who loved football and work. Those who knew him dismissed this theory completely. And the biggest flaw, he left his passport, wallet, and luggage behind. Starting a new life without those is almost impossible. The years. Possible sightings of Lars have trickled in. A homeless man in Bulgaria, a drifter in Poland, a man walking alone in the Netherlands, even rumors of him in Canada. Each sighting sparked hope. Each turned out false. The most famous was in 2019, when a man resembling Lars appeared in a video uploaded from Brazil. Online communities exploded with speculation. Could he have made it across continents, surviving as a drifter? The lead went nowhere. The silence. What makes the case so chilling is the silence. No bank accounts accessed, no calls, no DNA found, no trace. Most missing persons leave behind something. Lars left nothing. To this day, his file remains open but cold. Why his case still haunts us. The disappearance of Lars Mittank is more than just another missing tourist case. It has become a symbol of our deepest fears, because it is not only the mystery of where he went, but the horror of why he ran. When people watch the footage, they project their own fears into it. Some see mental illness, others see a hunted man, Others see a victim of crime, but no one can say for sure. And that uncertainty, that not knowing, has made Lars Mittank a legend of the internet age. The mother's plea today. 11 years later, his mother still clings to hope. Every year, she shares his story. Every year, she hopes someone, somewhere, will recognize her son. She believes he could still be alive, that maybe he lost his memory or is living in hiding, that maybe one day she will hear his voice again. Her words cut deepest of all. No mother should live with this silence. I don't know if my son is dead or alive. I just want to know. The chilling legacy, the internet has dubbed him the most famous missing person on YouTube. His story has been viewed millions of times, turned into countless videos, podcasts, and articles, and still it remains unsolved. Every time someone presses play on that CCTV footage, they are pulled into the same haunting mystery, a young man's terrified escape, frozen in time. Closing narration, July 8, 2014, Varna Airport. A man runs barefoot into the unknown. 11 years later, the questions remain. Did Lars Mittank suffer a tragic breakdown? Or did he glimpse something too terrifying to face? Was he a victim of his own mind, or of someone determined to silence him? The truth is, we may never know. But one thing is certain. Lars's story reminds us how quickly ordinary life can unravel into the extraordinary. How one trip, one fight, one moment of fear can become a mystery that haunts the world forever.